Alright, welcome back everybody. Yeah, it's my pleasure bringing you these these games. I changed my observer constant so that it's a little less nauseating when I move the camera controls. I didn't even think of this until someone brought it up. They're like, yeah, I feel like I'm gonna puke when I watch your videos, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll change that slightly. So now, and they said don't move the camera as much, but screw that. I'm gonna move the camera as much as I want, but I did slow it down. It's now the default levels, so it's not quite the levels that I play with, but maybe it'll make it a little bit easier to see what's happening or to watch when I change the camera position. Alright, so this is from week 2 of Osmodian's miniature tournament. This match is between Osmodian's team and Giant Killer General's team. And I actually participated in this match. We're looking at Osmodian's team right now, and Adrenaline is actually captaining for them. He I guess was absent last week, but has shown up this week. He was from the Name Changers, if you recall, in the Myth World Cup 2012. Somnus and Funky once again are back. Ramirez is here also, and Mercredon is here. Mercredon was conspicuously absent from the Myth World Cup, although he did substitute, I think, for the Thundercocks late in the tournament. Interestingly enough, I played on the same team as Mercredon many years ago. I doubt he remembers me though. And across the way, of course, is Giant Killer General's team. Gecko, I believe Gecko was on Grimm's My team. I could be mistaken. Gecko is showing up this week. Eastwind, I think, is substituting for Genghis Khan. Eastwind was on the Southern Parkians, and I think we saw him substitute last week also for Karma. He'll be substituting for Giant Killer General's team. Zach is here. LN is back. Pogue, I believe, is just observing, and then of course Kruniak have all shown up. So I think it's 6-on-6. Yeah, minus Pogue, who is merely observing. And this is game 1 out of 5. Looks like a heavy thrall trade. Only 2 archers for Giant Killer General. It's going to be a very mobile selection here of units. Big on goals, warriors, melee in general. Very different from Adrenaline's trade, which sees a pretty heavy on the archers. And if you experience lag, once again, I apologize. Haven't been able to determine yet what exactly is the cause of that, but hopefully it doesn't detract too much from your enjoyment. So both teams are going to be getting pus, of course. I believe that's 3 or 4 whites worth of pus for Giant Killer General's team. And probably about the same here for Team Osmodian. Alright, so I remember playing, I was on one of these teams. Okay, I'll come out and say it. I was on Giant Killer General's team. And I think our strategy was to go heavily north here. And we were actually going to have several players attempt to kind of hide their forces up in this corner, while we just kind of staved off the other team. Made it look as if, you know, it was just a small force, when in fact we had quite a number of units waiting in the wings, and they're gonna rush in and down to get the flag. It is capture the flag. So both teams starting out with 1 flag, and that's gonna make it so that if you control both flags, then you win the game. So here's the Giant Killer General's defense. Basically, all the thralls just kind of scattered on the flag. Nobody's going to take that flag. He has a dwarf there as well. LN gets both archers. Only 2 taken for the trade here. Gosh, it's so slow. Having my observer constants this slow is very it's not exactly frustrating, but it's a little bit irritating that I can't get the speed that I want. I'm so used to playing when I played, having to look every which way. So yeah, if you're new to Myth, you should edit your observer constants and edit your formations probably so that they can achieve that really densely packed box formation that we just saw here from Osmodian. So there's going to be a heavy mid here for Osmodian's team. Adrenaline going to be basically by himself here in the middle. And he has a few thrall on the flag. I don't know where this one's going. Maybe he's gonna protect the white. Not really sure why it's doing that. I'm gonna blow up this map because I can hardly see what's going on. Then in the south we have Funky. Funky is basically gonna be crossing over and probably making his way up to the flag, but I think he's probably gonna get eaten up by all that thrall. Look at all this thrall. That is just so much thrall. He's just going to get eaten up if he attempts to take that flag. Giant Killer General with a few Puskulls in the mid to deter any kind of crossing. So Adrenaline's going to be stuck there. Merc with a couple of Puskulls in the backfield. So here we have, you know, Zach kind of hiding out. Waiting in the wings, we have Gecko with his mobile force waiting in the wings as well. And we also have Eastwind. He's going to be waiting up here also, although he might get scouted. Osmodian is going to be basically heading up this northern force. Mercadon, Ramirez, they're going to be backing him up. And then of course Somnus is going to be relieving them, but Somnus is just kind of like on the side. I think he only has, no, he has 10%. A full 10%, might I add. So here's Kruniak. He's going to be pretty open about his presence. And then LN is going to be shooting some bows, trying to keep this force from getting complacent. So there's nothing mid. I know Adrenaline probably knows this by now. I mean, these goals haven't scouted anything except for Giant Killer General's Puskulls. And Funky's down here scouting. He can't see anything. He's on his way to the flag, but you know, unless Adrenaline decides to cross and go for that flag, it's well, it's gonna be just a stalemate like it is right now. So here's Zach with his goals. It's letting him know that his goals are there. I think his melee is slightly out of range. Giant Killer General decides to peel off some of that thrall from the flag. He's going to be sending it down. I'm not really sure what for. Maybe to act as a kind of barrier. Maybe as a some sort of thrall rush to hit from the side. Just maybe a timing rush of some sort. As right now it's basically just locked in a stalemate. I mean, Funky is basically the only player that can force movement. As long as he stays moving, and he's just sitting there, I think he should be moving up toward the flag, or maybe intercept some of this thrall. He's got a Puskull. He can puss it and maybe vet up on a few thrall, or maybe not, because Giant Killer General is there. to inhibit such a maneuver.
Flag contested. 5 minutes remaining.
And Adrenaline's gonna be he's basically gonna be oh, what's the word? Harassing the flag. He really doesn't. I don't think he expects to take the flag. So we see Merc. He got off an errant shot there. I think for the most part though he's content to just sit up, perched on the high ground. And actually everything kind of rests on the shoulders of Adrenaline here. He's picking off some of this thrall. Maybe they're trying to chase out a white if there happens to be one there. Or maybe they're just hidden there in case Adrenaline decides to cross. So Adrenaline, I think he's probably not going to cross at this point. Interesting development there with the thrall. I wonder how many he got. He got 1, 2, 3. I think he got 3. He managed to get 3 thralls. So this thrall is now going to push. And more importantly, the northern forces are going to engage here. See some flame arrows going down. And flame arrows are not they're not started with by default. They are, saw that pus get taken out. So Team GKG is gonna rush in here. Nice pus there. Archers don't start with flame arrows, they have to pick them up manually. Nice dwarf shot by Merc. Merc is actually doing a pretty good job defending here, although he gets taken out by something, some sort of bottle there. Pretty much takes him out. And Kruniak wrecking face here. Ooh, some friendly fire. So this whole entire force is going to get cleaned up. Adrenaline not even close to getting there in time. I guess that thrall was meant to. I mean, thrall are easy targets. I guess it was meant to subdue this force, and maybe not even subdue them, but slow them down enough to take them out of that northern fight. So Adrenaline probably going to get cleaned up here. He's going to do his best. Osmodian, some remnants here, going to get cleaned up by the superior melee forces. LN's going to come in here with his warriors. And these archers are just going to get picked apart, I think. Kruniak heals the other journeyman. Interesting decision. He's going to heal that dwarf too, I think.
Flag contested.
So here we go. And Adrenaline's thrall, basically in the middle of all of that melee, finally decides to engage.
Contested.
And down goes. Wow, that thrall had several kills. This flag is going to be contested now. And Kruniak, assisted by Gecko, I think they're going to just overrun it. Meanwhile, the flag up north for Giant Killer General, it's going to hold. And Funky's going to run in there, but basically going to be prevented from contesting. There he goes, he contests it, but loses all of his melee in the process. That flag got captured.
30 seconds.
And Gecko's dwarf going to hold off anybody from contesting. Actually, that thrall does contest, but gets taken out almost immediately. So that's going to be it for game number 1. A pretty, I don't don't know, 44% remaining for Giant Killer General. That's a pretty clear victory, I think, for Team GKG over Team Osmodian. And Adrenaline did fairly well for his team, 109 damage, 23 kills, but I think him being taken out or distracted, I guess, by all that thrall in the mid really made it hard for his team to recover. I don't know how much his presence could have contributed to the defense in the north, but just keep in mind that many of his kills and much of his damage is on this thrall that GKG just kind of threw at him, and you know, when it could have been on preventing, you know, this rush from working, and maybe he could have added all that thrall in later, since thrall are so slow. Other notable players for this team, I guess Mercredon with 61 damage, next in line for his team, but obviously not going to be positive ratios, and actually nobody on Team Osmodian got positive ratios. Giant Killer General, 114 damage, which is quite a bit. He did clean up Funky on that flag, and who knows what else he did. 22 kills. It's quite a lot of damage. And let's see who else. Eastwind also did fairly well, did really well actually. 16 kills, 8 losses, 87 damage. That's gonna be that's pretty much gonna be it. Everyone seemed to do fairly well, as everybody did get positive ratios for Team GKG. So so far in the match, it's 1-0, and we'll see if Osmodian's team is able to get it in gear for game number 2. Once again, thanks for watching. I am the NewMutator, so thanks for watching my videos. I appreciate it and hope that you enjoy them. Game number 2 is next.
Game over.